Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ultimate Sporting News, CFL style. Now, most of y'all are probably thinking that it's college football, but no, it's Canadian football. And I'm here to do my season preview, so let's get started, shall we? Starting up in Winnipeg, the Blue Bombers. It was an interesting offseason for many reasons with the Blue Bombers. Rookie head coach Mike Kelly, who joined the squad from Edmonton, has retooled a team built by general manager Brendan Taman, who had his job changed shortly thereafter, re-signed to re-energize himself. Kelly has surrounded himself with assistants who know the CFL quite well. One of Kelly's major personnel moves included acquisition of quarterback Stefan LaForce from Edmonton in a trade. LaForce is largely unproven in the CFL, but Kelly saw enough of him and limited playing time with the Eskimos to essentially anoint him as the starter after dealing Kevin Glenn. LaForce's main competition will come from the incumbent Ryan Dinwiddie. Whoever starts will play behind a revamped offensive line, which is torn apart via free agency departures. Training camp and preseason will provide the answers to who starts and where. Tackles Glenn January and Steve Morley, both of whom who have bounced around the league in the last 2 years, joined the team as a free agents from Saskatchewan. Veteran interior lineman Kelly Bates came via the trade route with BC, British Columbia. The Lions, who are opposite of Detroit, let me tell you. We'll get to that in a second. Running backs Fred Reed and Joe Smith provide an interesting 1-2 punch that proved effective at times last year. The biggest change in the receiving corps is the absence of Mitt Stegall, who retired with a bevy of accomplishments. Derek Armstrong, Romby Bryant, Torrance Edwards, and R.G. Franklin are collectively a good corps. Brock Ralph joined the team following a trade with Edmonton. He was familiar with LaForce. So, a few good people. Let's get to their veterans. Veterans Doug Brown and Gavin Walls are the primary returners from last year's defensive line. Fred Perry, who had 14 sacks 2 years ago but was limited to his playing time last year because of a broken leg, joined the team in a trade with Edmonton, who acquired veteran Kelly Malveaux in return. It was an interesting deal, but one Kelly made based on his knowledge of Perry with the Eskimos. Rush and Real Johnson joined the team in the deal that sent Zeke Morneau to Toronto. The lineup crew should be as solid, with either Baron Simpson returning from a torn pectoral muscle suffered early last season, or Joe Lebinden in the middle. Lebinden will see plenty of action in training camp and preseason as an outside backer. Added Charlton, and collectively the group is one of the best in the league. The back end is expected to undergo multiple changes, though. Alex Cerna, who struggled with his punting and kicking last year in his first season in the CFL, has been retained. Veteran Dan Giancola has come out of a 5-year retirement to try and claim the kicking spot. So, a few good things in Saskatchewan, or in Winnipeg for the Blue Bombers. But honestly, for the Blue Bombers, if they're going to win, they're going to have to win with an unproven quarterback. They're also going to have to win with a revamped defense. And they're also going to have to win with the new offensive line. It's very hard in football to win with the new offensive line. But one thing about the CFL that many people do not know, unless you're living up in Canada, is that they play with 12 people. Bigger field. 12 people. Different rules. I'll get to those in a second. Let's get to Toronto. Well, actually, before we get to Toronto, I want to get to the schedule. This schedule looks severely punishing. Edmonton, Calgary. Then you got an easy game against Hamilton. And then you play Toronto twice. Then you finally play Calgary again. Then you play Montreal. And then you play at BC. That's an extremely hard schedule, especially for a team like the Blue Bombers. Then to start off after the bye week, you play Saskatchewan twice. Then you go to Montreal. Then you play Toronto. Then you play Edmonton. And then you should win against Hamilton. But then you play BC, then Montreal twice. Then you end the season against Hamilton. So in the CFL, I think what's hurting them are the amount of teams. Right. But again, we just had our preview for Winnipeg. Well, up next, we'll have our preview for Toronto. I'm not used to covering the CFL, but I know that a way to draw people to my site, which I'm currently trying to do, is to cover the CFL. So all season long, I'll be covering the CFL, and I'll see how that goes. My plan is to cover it for the remainder parts of its existence. Along for football, I'll be covering the AFL, the AFL2, and college football, both Canadian and Division I football here in the States. And I'll also be covering the UFL on how that goes. So that has been my preview for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I'm Andrew Tanner saying goodbye and good night.